Today, we visit Paris. They recommended to use public transportation to get around Paris. However, I was having a little trouble with my ticket. Then, some lady told us that usually happens when you put your ticket next to your phone. After testing our French, we finally found the exit. One of the drawbacks about traveling in off-season is the weather. And the first place we wanted to visit was a museum. It took us a minute to get our bearings, but I think we were heading the right direction. It took us by surprise, since the museum seemed to be a little bit bigger than we thought. Just looking at buildings like this made us realize how far away from home we were. This is just a side entrance to the main plaza. And we got a break in the weather just in time. This entire complex was a palace. After the French Revolution, it was turned into a museum. And there it is, the main entrance to the Louvre Museum. That was my best attempt to pronounce that name. For a moment, it seemed like there wasn't gonna be that many people visiting the museum today, but we were in for a surprise. We actually booked our tickets with a tour guide, and it was way worth it. We skipped all the lines. Before it was a palace, this part of the museum was actually a fortress in medieval times. This used to be a ditch that surrounded the entire fortress, and it was filled with water. The museum has an extensive collection of Egyptian artifacts. We actually just skipped that part, there was just too much to see. Our tour guide was amazing. She told us a story on just about every statue, but there are over 35,000 works of art on display. It is just way too much to remember. This statue is one of the most noticeable ones. It is called the Sleeping Hermaphroditus. There is a representation of the two goddesses, Aphrodite and Hermes. The story goes something like they couldn't decide on whether to have a boy or a girl, so a different god granted their wishes and it turned in a mixture of both, something like that. I think it's worth looking into. Look at all these multiple levels. It seems like it just goes on forever. Even though my dad's not a big fan of walking this many steps, he's always in good spirits. I don't think any of us were ready for this part. It was a bit overwhelming. Everybody wanted to know how much the jewelry was worth, but the tour guide didn't want to answer.
Sneaks up on me again, you know, I know.
This room was filled with Renaissance paintings, which only meant one thing. We were getting closer to the Mona Lisa. And these are actually some of the other paintings by Leonardo da Vinci. Surprisingly, they said that he only painted about 13 total paintings. Okay, here it comes. No one can really explain why the Mona Lisa is so popular. They told us that as soon as the museum opens at 8 o'clock in the morning, people sprint to the painting to get the first selfie. So in order for everyone to get a turn, they actually have a system. Watch this. The guards are always watching, and they're counting. For example, this couple have been there for over 2 minutes, so now they get escorted out. And of course they're gonna sell Mona Lisa souvenirs. Why wouldn't they? My dad and I, we both were thinking the same thing. It was time to make our way out of the museum. After all that, we didn't actually feel like walking, but we wanted to explore the city. And there was a bunch of these guys with some hybrid bikes / taxis. So we just took a ride, and he was just supposed to take us around the city. Apparently he actually doesn't even know his way around, so we had to tell him where to go. After a little while, we noticed the neighborhoods were getting a little shady. We started getting a little worried. We just told him to drop us off at one of the nearest attractions. So, he dropped us off at the cemetery. But this wasn't any old cemetery. Molière was buried there, Chopin, Oscar Wilde, Isadora Duncan, but more importantly, Jim Morrison was buried there. Jim Morrison died in Paris in 1971. His gravestone is by far the most visited in the cemetery, so much so that they had to put a fence around it. This is a memorial for all the people who died during World War I and World War II. And next, we made our way to the Arc of Triumph. It was a little bit tricky to get to it, since you can't just cross the roundabout. You gotta find a tunnel that runs underground in order to be able to access it. The arc doesn't look as tall until you're standing right underneath it. This is the Eternal Flame Memorial. The flame has been burning since 1921. There is only one way to get to the top of the ark, and it's a long way up. After climbing all those steps, we finally made it to the first level. Then, more steps. The second level was really interesting. It gives you a really well-detailed history of the Ark, along with some really cool videos. After climbing the last few set of stairs, we finally made it to the top. The view was actually a lot better than I thought it would be for a rainy day. And look, what is that over there? And this is the Princess Diana Memorial. In my opinion, the only true princess. Well, and Princess Leia, of course. We were getting a little closer. All we had to do is cross the Seine River. These bridges connecting the rivers are really popular for a specific reason. People leave a padlock behind. It's some sort of superstition. Unfortunately, we didn't have one today. And this is it. This is the Eiffel Tower. There is not much I can say about it that hasn't been said or read about already. Other than, we showed up at the wrong day. When there is heavy rain or chance of lightning, access to the top is denied. For some reason, it seemed like a good idea to go down these steps. Needless to say, I almost fell into the water. There was so much to see still, but the heavy rain was getting to us, so we looked for a place to eat and dry off for a minute. I'd already tried a Royale with cheese earlier. Now, it was time to try escargot. All good things must come to an end, and it was time to go to our next destination. I just wanted to take one last look at the city. Magnificent.